And then that brings us to sort of the piece de resistance, if you will, of this world of interacting with players, the jersey swap.
Yeah. We weren't allowed to do it. Our coach wouldn't let us.
Really?
We weren't allowed to give the game jersey because time for the Chill Zone brought to you by Coors Light. Get Coors Light delivered straight to your door. Visit CoorsLight.com/GWN and celebrate responsibly.
Before we get into this, I love that Kyler made the Kyle Shanahan mention during that.
Like my brain,
That was a great mention.
Oh, glad that you like caught me because like you know that meme where the guys like,
Yes.
that just clicked.
Forrest Gump of 28-3.
With all like the stuff going.
Can I say one more thing about Hoyer before we go? I love when a guest comes on who's like familiar with the show.
Yeah.
And like picks a great game, gets the
integrity
beats, gets the
score.
rhythm. Yeah. Honestly, it was too low. Should have been higher.
I know.
But
he didn't want to go too far. He didn't want to pump his tires.
He knew what's up. He knew the vibe.
He knew the vibe. All right, we're going to pull back the curtain on interacting with opponents in the National Football League.
When you've talked in some past episodes, Jules, about battling with different cornerbacks and safeties, linebackers, any guys on other teams, we've gotten comments of kind of what that's like before, after games, during games, not just the trash talk, but like, what is it like interacting with opponents that you don't know, guys you do know, maybe you went to college with, maybe you trained together at Exos or somewhere.
Former teammates on the current team.
On the current team you're on. How does that go down before, after games? Are you talking to each other during the week? The classic jersey swaps that we all see. Just kind of how does that go down in the NFL? What's the protocol? What is the way that you did it? And just kind of that whole world.
Yeah, our coach used to always say, if you don't be having a team meeting before the game with other guys, we're going to be playing these guys, none of this, like say hi and then move on. Like I took that. I listened to my coach.
So
I listened to him.
That came down from Bill. That wasn't just kind of like a culture thing. So
but there would be guys that would, see other guys that they went to school with or other old teams that they played with, and they would do that. But I was never like that. I played with the Pats the whole time. I was very into myself. I mean, McAfee's talked about it where he tries to talk to all the punt returners. He tried to talk. I didn't want to talk to him. I was playing mind games. I was visualizing that I was like going to run a punt down your fucking throat, or I was visualizing and thinking up horrific things about other players that I had to go compete against. Because that's what we're about to do. So shit talking, there was shit talking. And that was done. I used to do business as business being done. If a guy was going to come in and start talking and I didn't know him, then I was going to talk to him all game and I was going to abuse him. If he was a little weak and I knew it got under like weak mentally, you could just sniff that from a younger player or, a guy that is getting, I don't know. I felt like I would get into guys. If it was a guy that was their vocal guy, who was an enforcer type guy that used to hit, I would get up and I would let him know that it didn't hurt. That was one of my things that I always tried to do. If I got bamboozled, I would get up and scream at him and say something like, "That's all you got, bro?" Because I felt like that was more deflating, and at the time, I'm fucking banged up, like, oh shit. But I would always try to make a point to let him know it didn't hurt me.
Did anyone ever get under your skin?
What is his name? Me and what's his name got in a fight. The safety from the Dolphins.
Not me.
No, we used Bobby Kane.
I think we talked about this on an episode.
Bobby,
yeah.
What is his name? 2016.
Bobby McCain.
Bobby McCain. Me and Bobby, and that was because we played each other so much.
You can build up the history.
He was a competitive player. He was a scrappy player. I think I got a penalty for we were talking shit and I headbutted him and got a 15-yarder. It all depends on the guys for both situations, with your interaction. Before or after?
DB is not one of those positions that usually talks much trash, which is...
Yeah.
Now, for someone you're close with, let's say, you were friends with Dola before he came on the team and you guys played against each other in London against the Rams. Yeah. Are you texting it all beforehand or is it usually
No, I wouldn't. I was
you're just you're zoned in.
Yeah, I didn't like that either.
Is there a world where a guy, you say Dola's in town, would you guys go out to eat the night before or hang out the night before? Like, is that ever a world or is that just fantasy land?
No, that happens, I think, with older veteran type players that maybe a guy they played with, that kind of stuff. I'm sure a lot of guys do that. I didn't do that.
I feel you. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No. But maybe, I don't know. Like after the game, different.
So what's
after the game?
Yeah.
That's when, hey man, it was good. No hard feelings. Oh, see you, in the off season potentially in the Exos. There would be a couple guys I used to train with. But, when we were going against each other, like it was like it almost enhanced me wanting to beat the shit out of them because I knew them. And so I could talk shit to them afterwards.
I feel like in this realm, in this conversation we're having, we throw around the term kiki a lot.
A lot of kikiing.
Can you explain that to the folks?
Slate dog. Yeah, kikiing is when you're over there and you're talking with the boys. Oh, kiki, ha ha, hee hee. Slate used to throw that around a lot. He'd be like, yeah, don't be kikiing with them over there.
In hockey, they call that tummy sticks.
Tummy sticks?
You meet at the red line.
Yeah.
And you got like your stick in their tummies.
Yeah,
tummy
no tummy sticking.
No buddy, no kiki, no tummy
But
sticks.
I think it's changed. Like when I first, I just remember playing against the Jets and Bart Scott literally went up to like 2 inches from Billy O's face and like said, you're something crazy.
Player on coach.
Like that's how it really, like it's kind of gone in a different way. And I think that's because we're all a lot more connected with social media. And we've been seeing, and we could shoot a DM. Like it's not, this generation's fault. It's just literally like we know guys since these kids know each other and heard of each other's name and been competing against each other since they were like 13 at a 7-on-7 QB camp or a receiver. This
recruiting visits, the
AAU basketball. These, you know what I mean? There's just so much crossover with guys now where there wasn't that when we were kids.
No, that's true.
You think that's made the game less competitive?
Who?
That kind of relationship that players have.
No, I think people are going to always compete because there's that camaraderie of wanting to beat your brother up. You know what I mean? You want to, if anyone's going to do it, it's going to be your bro. You know what I mean? Your boy.
I'm with you. And then that brings us to sort of the piece de resistance, if you will, of this world of interacting with players, the jersey swap.
Yeah. We weren't allowed to do it. Our coach wouldn't let us.
Really?
We couldn't give, bless you.
Bless you, guy.
We weren't allowed to give our game jersey. We could send a jersey.
Okay.
But we weren't allowed to give the game jersey because it was a lot of logistics for the equipment staff that has this I think you have like 2 or 3 of them for the year where they're custom fit to your body. And they didn't, it's like, I don't know. We weren't supposed to. So like, if anyone want to do jersey swap, we would be like, all right, we'll send you one. Our coach doesn't want us to give our ones off our back, which they weren't free.
Right.
We had to pay for them as well. They're like $500.
Oh, wow.
$500,
Yeah. Or whatever they were. Nothing was free in the National Football League.
Now, let's say you've mentioned before in an episode talking about Antonio Gates, but were there moments when you're younger and like you just played against or competed against someone you looked up to? Like, what does that look like to go up to talk to the guy?
I remember
talk to him.
Nah, but I remember like seeing Peyton Manning for the first time, after we competed against him in 2009 and we lost to him, you would early in your career, when you saw like the veteran type players that were stars, you'd be like, oh man. Like, or when I saw Antonio Gates, we passed through each other in the hallway, and that was like, it was like, oh, what's up? I think it was after the game.
Had his shades on, looking cool.
Had his shades on at night, looking sweet with a black sweater, big ass chain.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know.
How about the shoe being on the other foot? Did some of the young bucks come up to you?
Yeah.
When you were
at the end, a lot of guys. That's when you get old is when, a guy tackles you and goes, man, I used to watch you when I was a kid, or, stuff like that. The older you get, you hear that a little more.
I feel that.
But it's like, that always kind of made me happy. It means he was watching.
No, I was just going to say, I love that.
I got 2 more. One is still on the jersey swap. Hypothetically, there is a player that you've competed against where you could swap a jersey. Is there someone that comes to mind that you'd want to have their jersey? Or a game or a moment.
Or them have yours.
Off the rip of my head, Steve Smith.
Smitty.
Yeah, I loved how Steve Smith played. I loved that. And he was a baller, I loved watching him play.
He was
Electric.
fun. He's like that perfect balance of like brash, but also you knew that he was doing the work.
Oh, yeah.
He was
Yeah.
doing
Back
the
it up.
mental work, the physical. He was
Yeah.
doing all the work, but he had that like diva kind of. But he had the both thing.
I'll admit I was also a little scared of him when he came in the nut house.
It keeps you on your nerves.
I was on my P's and Q's.
Keeps you on your
Last
toes.
one, we see as fans, you know, the interactions that are happening on the field. Are there any more conversations, interactions happening, you know, in the stadium after the game?
Sometimes you'll see, you know, like when you're packed up, you're on the road and you go in, you shower, you change, you do media. Well, the other team's doing that too. And a lot of times you guys will share the same tunnel. They'll be going to their cars. We'll be going to the buses. So you'll see a guy here and there, or a lot of the times you see coaches. You'll see that are in the box that you don't really, that they don't get to come down. You know, you see a DC or a special team coordinator, and you know, hey, how you doing? Oh, that was good. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I bet the coaching relationships are even more incestuous because they're around the football for longer than players, you know?
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there is some interaction. I mean, there's that story. I remember Tom after that AFC championship. I was walking to go do some media stuff, and I saw him go over and because the media was near their locker room, I think, or something. And I saw, you know, Tommy went over and talked to Patrick Mahomes after that game.
That's cool.
I think that's been documented though, that people have talked about that.
That's so cool.
You know, so I'm sure Tom did it a lot, probably. You know, it's also different with that quarterback relationship.
Get off the field, do it a little bit more
I
personal.
don't know,
Yeah.
but I remember seeing that. And you see guys, a lot of guys would do that, like behind the scenes, the key stuff. So,
And I thought even in retirement, the relationship that you and AJ Brown had was pretty cool too.
oh yeah. I mean, we had a connection because I remember Vrabel or Brian
Tennessee.
Bell at Tennessee had me talk to him early on. I found out Vrabel tried to trade for me after the 18 season.
Really?
Whoa.
What'd you find out?
That Bill said no.
Wow.
To the podcast? Coming on the podcast?
Huh?
He said no to coming on the podcast?
Oh yeah, that's
to trading you. I'm sorry.
or not Bill. I mean, beep.
Man, my man on Broadway down in Nashville, I could see that.
I know. I would have fell apart though.
Get you a truck, some boots.
It's not too late to play for Vrabel. I'm just saying.
It's a little too late, but
Awesome. Great
That's
segment.
a
This is
great
cool.
nugget.
Great questions from comments. Keep them up. Any more follow-ups, drop them in there. We'll
old coaches from like old. I would always say hi to those guys. Like coaches, like Balby Babbage, the DC for the Bears. I had him at Kent. I always like to see the guys that were. I remember grinding, and they were like, you know, or Dean Pease when he was with the Ravens. You know, he was the head coach at Kent. I would always see like my Kent guys. I mean, there just wasn't many of them. So I couldn't be kikiing like the Alabama guys or the other
Florida
guys.
yeah.
So you should probably ask those guys.
Man,
Awesome.
that's so cool.
Yeah.
Good segment.
Good segment.
More questions in the comments. These are
Keep them
great.
coming, baby.
And that was the Chill Zone. Thanks to our favorite beer, Coors Light. Get Coors Light delivered straight to your door. Visit CoorsLight.com/GWN and celebrate responsibly.